So essentially, about why there is no aspect of love here and why the whole book later on, half of the book is now devoted towards love, you see.
Yes, sir.
I think one can understand that, you see.
Right, sir.
Now, coming specifically to a couple of small details,
Yes, sir.
see, last time we saw uh, in the Canto 2 of Book of Love, Satyavan, that the chariot stood like an arrested wind,
Right, sir.
and then he heard the liquid voice. He
Yes,
felt
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
liquid voice.
Yes, sir.
Now, I was again looking at it,
Yes, sir.
and to me, it seems little interesting also. 102.33, I think. 102 point. Oh yeah, I'm right.
Yes, sir. 3-3.
I'm right here. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
it happens to be here. See.
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, we have already seen that alchemy worked. This happened, that happened, this,
Yes,
this,
sir.
and this, that.
Yes, sir.
And then trembling with a mystic shock, her heart moved in her breast and cried out like a bird who hears a maid upon a neighboring bough, whose trembling first wheels largely stumbling ceased. The chariot stood like an arrested wind. And then he said, and Satyavan looked out from his soul's doors and felt the enchantment of her liquid voice. She has not spoken a word, but he.
I was speculating that while stopping the chariot, she would have
said, halt!
Halt and something like
Something
that.
like- But that is a voice crying, you see. Okay, it's possible.
Yes.
This is halt. That's possible, uttering, you see. But see, the whole discussion to me looks at a different level.
Right, so it could
It
have
is-
multiple
huh?
layers. Another layers it would have.
It is not on the physical plane it is being described. It is the subtle physical.
Right, sir.
He uses the word here very carefully, very particularly,
Liquid voice.
and felt the enchantment.
Yes,
He
sir, not
doesn't say
heard.
here.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
He doesn't say that he heard
Right, sir.
the liquid voice.
Very interesting, yes, sir. Felt the enchantment.
It is in the subtle body. She is saying, crying
Right, sir.
like that. Stop like that, you see. It is happening in the subtle consciousnesses.
Right, sir. Because in her case, that immediate recognition has come,
Yes,
and her heart has cried out.
cried out, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So it is in the subtle, which
So
is
he's
really-
feeling her heart crying
and
out.
then he feels that.
Right.
Means there is already, it is not on the physical plane that things are happening here.
Right, sir.
Means some kind of an association has already entered into the subtle relationship.
So this interpretation definitely has to be the predominant.
Yes. Subtle relationship
intended-
has already got established.
Right, sir.
You see,
Right, sir. Right, sir.
it is not that they are seeing each other eye to eye like that. You see,
Right, sir.
physically,
Right, sir.
the subtle relationship already
The
got.
beings have already touched each other in a deep
Yes,
way,
in a way you can
and
say
one
that.
of them has
Yeah,
already
yeah.
cried out.
Now it is going to happen on a physical. You see.
Right, sir.
I would say, I mean, because this word is, he says, felt the enchantment of a liquid voice.
Right, sir.
The liquid voice is there
It's
only subtle.
It definitely has to be the predominant.
See, liquid
sense.
voice cannot be crying.
Right, sir. It has to be a sweet.
You see, yeah, exactly. He says, cried like a bird. You see.
Yeah, it has to be a sweet, soft kind of a feeling.
Yes,
It
yeah.
can't be a harsh.
Liquid voice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And when she's saying something, and he is hearing something. You see,
Right, sir.
and then
Do we have any liquid sound as a? If I remember, there's some liquid sound also elsewhere in Savitri. Is it, sir? Would you remember that? In case of Koel or something, it's liquid sound or something.
in liquid sound, no.
There's no such.
No,
instance?
I don't recollect at
Okay,
least.
sir.
We can do
Okay,
the search and
Search.
find out.
We'll
But
search,
it's not
we'll do
there.
it.
No,
Right, sir.
no. But basically, here liquid means easy, flowing, lucid, clear. See that way.
Right, sir.
Not obstructed, not harsh,
Right,
not like stones dashing against each other in a vessel.
Right,
You
sir.
see, it's
Right,
not
sir.
that sort of thing. You
Right,
see.
sir.
Gentle, the stream is flowing, and
Right,
the
sir.
sound is coming there,
Right,
murmur like that. You see.
Right, sir.
So this is the subtle senses which are hearing and speaking to each other.
Right, sir.
I would put it that way, you see.
Surely, this has to be the predominant
Yeah.
sense
Yeah.
for this. It could that could I mean obviously another layer it could be that she
Yeah.
may have cried out physically.
See, and then of course it happened, and he says, chariot trampling fast, wheels large stumbling ceased. The chariot stood like an arrested wind. What a beautiful simile, what a line also. And Satyavan, see, in fact, he says very clearly, and Satyavan looked out from his soul's doors. See,
So he's immediately looking out from his deepest.
so it's not the physical eye which is seeing.
In any case, Satyavan had developed that capability.
Yeah,
staying
but
in
then the
forest.
poet,
Yes,
in the present context,
Yes,
is
sir.
what it means
Yes, sir.
initially. See, yes. So I thought this was something.
Before we, I mean, in fact, do this, sir, because the discussion was centered on the psychic.
Yeah,
Now, I just wanted to clarify one thing.
yeah.
Now, that is again in 126 point, this whole section of 126, sir.
Yeah.
Now, out here, sir, it's used as a she for the psychic.
126 you are saying, no?
Yes, sir. Now, there is one confusion I have.
A being stood.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
She had come
Yes,
into
sir.
the mortal body soul. That is Savitri's divine power.
Right, sir. So she had come and all that.
Uh,
So she had come into the mortal body's room to play at ball with time
Yeah.
and circumstance. Right, sir. So now then it comes, all things she saw as a masquerade of
and
two.
then suddenly we got it.
Yes, sir. So there is it and she.
Yeah.
So there is no he in the entire
Yeah, no, of
description.
course he's not there at all.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
So now that's what I wanted to clarify,
Yeah.
because is it specifically related to Savitri, this entire description, or is it a general description?
No. This is specifically to Savitri.
Okay, sir. This entire
Yes.
description.
The Savitri, she has found a soul, and suddenly the divine Shakti which is there above, it is she who is entering into that place now.
Right, sir. So,
In fact, there are three things: human Savitri, Savitri incarnate, and the divine Savitri.
right, sir.
So it is the incarnate Savitri soul which is now feeling the appearance of the divine Savitri.
Okay, sir. So what about the human Savitri then?
Human Savitri stands back. She has now found quiet.
Okay, sir. Now here it is, sir, that one of them is the struggling part.
Yes.
Right, sir. So now which is that struggling part?
The human Savitri's part. The Savitri who has taken.
The human Savitri, you were
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
Right.
See, struggling part is the psychic being.
Right, sir.
The incarnate Savitri who has taken the mortal birth. She
Right.
is struggling here.
Right, sir.
She has accepted the conditions of the world, of
Right.
mortality.
Right, sir. So, and here this is, sir. But since she knows the toil of mind and life,
Yeah.
as a mother feels and shares her children's lives,
Yeah.
she puts forth a small portion of
Of her,
herself.
that is,
So, what is the she who puts forth?
it is the divine mother, the divine Shakti,
Who puts forth?
that small portion, Ansha Mahatra Purusha.
But we all,
Angushta Mahatra
but that
Purusha.
all of us have, sir.
Huh?
A psychic being
Yeah.
size of the
Yeah.
thumb.
Yeah.
That all of us have.
Yeah.
Right, sir.
Luckily.
Luckily, sir.
Yeah.
And we also have the incarnate soul within us, the secret soul. Now there are these two very specific different things, sir. One is soul the size of thumb,
Yes.
which is participating in the outward play.
Yeah.
Right, sir. Then there is one which is the deep soul, which is not really in that way. Our outside being is not aware of that at all. That's why it's the secret soul. Now
Okay.
the question really is now this thumb of man. Now
Yeah.
if she says she
Not
puts
bigger
forth,
than the thumb of man. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now she puts forth a small portion of herself, a being no bigger than the thumb of man.
Yeah.
Now I would let's say understand this, that the divine mother
Yeah.
puts a small part of herself,
Yeah.
the size of the thumb of man,
Yeah.
at the
Into
outside.
our- yeah.
Yes, sir, which our outward being can immediately become aware.
No,
by-
outward being, forget now. At the moment.
Yes, sir.
In fact, outward being, we are not talking of outward being at all at the moment here.
Right, sir. So now one is this, which is the struggling part of the
Yes.
being.
Yeah.
Then there is one, the secret soul. So there are the two things. One is
No. Now, you see, I don't think they are separate.
so they have to be separate
No.
because this
See,
is input as a struggling and
she
the other is a
puts forth
secret.
a small portion of herself, a being no bigger than the thumb of man, into a hidden region of the heart.
Yes, sir.
So that is why it is secret.
to face the pang and to forget the bliss. Now, sir, I'll tell you why it should be different. Is because here it is to face the pang and to forget the bliss.
Yes.
Right, sir. Whereas the secret one, it remembers the bliss. It does not forget the bliss, sir. That's the difference.
So, no, but even see, face the pang does not mean that it does not remember the bliss.
So, but it has to forget the bliss. Otherwise, it can't actively participate.
See, but it is there behind.
That is a sacrifice, sir. In that sense.
It doesn't say it's forgotten.
Sir, unless you can't share the suffering, how do you share the suffering if you remember the bliss, sir?
To face the pang and to forget the bliss. Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. To share the suffering and endure earth's wounds.
Yeah.
Right, sir?
Yeah.
How would you endure earth's wounds unless the outside can become aware of this directly? You would not be able to.
There is a difference now here. What you are saying is, here in the chamber of flame and light, they met.
Yes, sir.
They means Savitri's soul,
right, sir,
and the divine power.
Right, sir.
They met. They looked upon each other.
Sir, I would look at this maybe saying that here the divine one is not functional. She is, because that will only happen after the 7th canto, that she can become functional because of that development.
No.
But her part of her is already there as a thumb of man.
See, it is the Savitri soul which is here. It is this transcendental counterpart which is coming here.
Right, sir. It is a counterpart, but again, this is come here as the struggling part. And
no, struggling part is already there always.
Right, sir.
Now, when she had discovered that soul, what the other description is, the immortal in immortal.
Right, sir.
That is the psychic being, the soul.
Sir.
The immortal in the immortal, in the outward.
Right,
so, mortal, that pang, etc., is what mortal would mean. The immortal who is there inside. Now, it is that which is now getting in contact with its divine source.
Now, this is very curious, sir. If you really read this in detail, now it appears quite apparent that clearly there are two aspects. One is the struggling soul and the other is the secret soul, sir. And this, I would, let's say, sir, the way I have seen it.
Here is a secret soul, it's a secret deity.
No, sir, here it is, yes, sir, the secret deity and its human part.
He says human that, part is Savitri.
And then in the next line, sir, the calm immortal and the struggling soul.
Yeah, that's right, the calm immortal and the struggling soul.
Yes, sir.
So, he is clarifying what is the secret deity, the calm immortal. Who is the human part? The struggling soul.
Yes, sir. Again, the struggling soul is not the immortal within the mortal. It is that the part of the immortal which has been put forth. That is the struggling part, sir.
Yes.
Right, sir. Now,
so, see, basically, the soul here,
yes, sir,
and its central being,
right,
above.
Sir. Central being above, right,
above.
Sir. Yes, sir.
It is the central being now. With that, the contact is established. Right, when the soul is fully realized. It is that now which is that central being which is who is rushing into the soul of Savitri. So here, the central being's counterpart here, it is he who is struggling.
Right, sir.
Central
but,
being
sir,
is
central
there.
being is the transcendental being, sir.
Yes.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is this, sir, that transcendental being can really only become functional after the Canto 7, sir. No,
functionality is not the concern here. You see, it is not the concern here at all.
Yes,
the Canto 7 is a separate out. Here, basically, what is happening? The union of the two has taken place.
Right, sir.
And that is exactly what you see. What does that union mean? Immediately following that is the entire description of the Mahakundalini getting established in the entire physical of Savitri.
Right, sir.
So see, the rushing of that force is not described in every part of her physical, in the struggling part.
So what we can do is, we can keep a separate thing for this.
Okay.
Because this is one thing in the entire Savitri, which really needs to be done in a very kind of a minute and this thing, sir, in a micro way, we have to analyze this particular thing to at least get that thing resolved, sir. Because this is really, every time I mean, pass through this, it and it kind of brings up.
My simplest anchoring point here is
Yes, sir.
that I view one who has taken the human birth,
Right, sir.
and it is Savitri's soul now in the nature and all that thing. See what happened. Basically, we have got a central being, we have got a psychic being. It is the psychic being who participates in the evolutionary process.
Right, sir.
The central being is up there here. Now, in the case of Savitri, when she had discovered her psychic being, her soul, it is that which is now getting united with her central being. With her central being. So, therefore, the rushing in of that force of the central being in her soul is now bringing about a total change, transformation in her subtle physical.
Right, sir.
In other words, the central being's force, the divine Shakti, in that sense, has established herself in the human Savitri's soul.
Right, sir.
That is all I will see it from that angle. And then I've got to see if there are
Yes,
any
sir. There are, I mean, many arguments we have in this,
Yeah,
which I'd like to bring forth in
Okay.
a specialized session just for
Okay,
this particular part.
yeah.
Because specifically, the way I would see it is that the central being to actually really even touch or become functional, that universalization of the being and all that has to be there.
You see, universalization and transformation is a totally different thing.
Right, sir.
It's a totally different thing. See, her going into nirvana and after that is for a specific purpose.
Right,
In the
sir.
case of Savitri.
Sir, it's also, I would say, is about the outer being. Let's say we have an outer being.
Mm.
Let's say, sir, okay, let me put it in this way, sir.
Mm.
Now, what you have as the Jagrat,
Hmm?
Jagrat, sir,
Mm.
is the outer,
Mm.
our
Yeah.
one of the four
Yeah,
experiences.
yeah.
Now, our waking part, in our waking also there is this psychic, sir, or is it not? That's the thing, let's say, to begin with. I mean, it is obvious from the experience that in the waking, the psychic does become functional, and one has a direct perception of that. Right, sir?
No, it's not there in the waking.
The thumb of man, as big as the thumb of man, that
No,
thing cannot.
see, it goes through layers and layers. It may have direct, indirect influence elsewhere,
All right, sir.
but it is not really operating. See, in the surface consciousness.
Right, sir. Now, I would maybe like to think something
Yeah,
like this:
yeah.
that the portion which has been put out to struggle, which has to face the pang and has to forget the bliss.
Yeah.
So that part is there, which then unites with the deeper secret soul part, sir. Let's say that is one way one can evaluate if that is possible or not. So that is a crucial part. I have to. So let's say, sir, maybe this is a larger
But
discussion.
I'm not following your point exactly. Yeah.
So I'm saying, sir, there is this being which in the Jagrat
No,
is active, sir.
Jagrat is not this not being. It is surface
Right, sir.
consciousness.
Sorry, let's say the surface consciousness,
Yeah.
the waking consciousness. So this part of the soul which is active in the surface consciousness.
I don't understand. Soul active in the surface consciousness is not there. It is the ego which is active in the surface consciousness.
Ego is active, but again, sir, the thumb of man.
That is far, far, far deep in.
Okay, sir.
No. That is the whole problem. It is a kind of a surface personality which is operating. That personality is made up of the vital, the mental, the gross physical and all that sort of a thing. It is a concretization of these nature aspects which are operating in us. We have absolutely no contact at all with the soul, nor is the soul able to directly act on the surface. It will act indirectly if at all. Something may happen here and something may happen. You see, you feel little uneasy and then you change your mind. It's not that the soul has prompted, but something in your personality is there which feels something. You may ignore it also. You may dismiss it also. You may accept it also.
Right, sir.
But the surface consciousness is not really in contact, cannot be in contact with the soul.
Right, sir. But not the part which forgets the bliss, sir.
No, that is the soul part of it. You see,
But again, sir, I would look at it, the secret soul cannot forget the bliss, sir.
Okay.
I would look at it from that portion.
See, okay.
So
all
what
right,
I
then.
am actually saying is, there is one part which is there, which forgets the bliss, and there is one part which is secret. So that secret part puts out a small part of itself on the outside, to kind of share the suffering and endure Earth's wounds. And that is the
See,
part then which,
that sacred
which
part that puts out, it is there in every person. The divine Amsha is there
exactly,
in
sir.
every
That's
individual.
what I'm saying, sir.
Now, it is because it is there, it has to go through the process of death and birth, death and birth. That is suffering constantly.
Right, sir.
It has accepted for a certain purpose.
Right, sir.
It goes
So-
through the life after life.
Yes, sir. So that's what I'm saying. The surface thing which has been put out by this secret soul. This is the part which suffers and which goes through
Surface
grows.
soul, I don't know. How do you say that the secret part has put out the surface? No, it is not that.
Okay, sir.
It is not that, you see.
Okay, sir.
Surface consciousness is made up of our personality, of vital, physical, mental aspects which are there. They have formed kind of a center for a certain activity, the ego center, the surface soul. In fact, Shiva uses in Savitri, number of what he calls surface soul. He uses the word soul. Does not mean that that soul, you see.
Right, sir.
Surface soul is another name for ego.
Right, sir.
For ego. Now, it is a constitution, it is made up of the elements of nature. It is made up of elements of nature. They are not permanently there. After death, they disappear into different parts, you see. They disappear totally. Whereas the true psychic being, the central, which is there within us, that remains from birth to birth. That does not disappear at all. It remains. So whatever experience it has gathered in the course of a certain life, that it retains and the rest it discards. So whatever experience it has gathered which is useful for its further growth, that it carries from birth to birth. That is how it grows. Now that process of growth, of constituting the essence of the experience of that thing, is a part of pang, of suffering, of meeting death constantly to make progress, you see, in that sense. So pang does not mean that I feel that something pinches and I feel. No, it's not. The soul is not feeling at all anything, you see.
Right, sir.
It's not feeling it now in that sense.